Say what you want about Demon Slayer, but there is no denying it puts out masterful season finales. Today, I'm going to tell you how they perfected their process and why it's not an accident the last two have been some of the best episodes ever. To understand it all, we have to go all the way back to season 1 because things certainly didn't start out pristine. While the end of season 1 was a good finale, it was before they had perfected their craft. Here's a speed run of that episode. We see Tanjiro and the others training. We hop into the Infinity Castle where Lady Muzan kills the lower ranks except for Enmu. Kaguya and Shinobu discuss Tanjiro and tease the Mugen Train with Rengoku. We get our introduction to Glow Up Genya. We get some scenes of Tanjiro being uplifting with Aoi and Kanao. We see Giyu, and then we head out to the Mugen Train, again teasing Rengoku and Enmu as the opening theme hits and the episode ends. The major points of emphasis are that by far the best part of the episode takes place with Muzan in the Infinity Castle. It's our first look into how truly terrifying he is and builds up our next villain, who is both insane and just received some hacks. The other strong suit is we get plenty of setup. Rengoku, Enmu, Mugen Train, and even the Genya tease are all things we can look forward to seeing more of. However, I think most would agree the other parts of the episode, while uplifting, were a bit slow and could have used more relevance in the present as opposed to the future. The Entertainment District finale comes off the best Demon Slayer episode to date, featuring the greatest spectacle to ever hit anime. The visuals of that fight literally set a new standard for action. This finale opens by recapping the end of that god-tier fight. We get some teases of Inosuke and Tengen succumbing to the poison, only for Nezuko to instantly save them both. Then we get Gyutaro and Daki arguing, their backstory, a Doma tease, them reconciling, which takes up a ridiculous amount of the episode, literally half of it. Obanai pops up, then Tengen retires and says Tanjiro can replace him as a Hashira. We cut to Kaguya, who is ecstatic to learn an upper rank has finally been killed after 100 years, how important that is, and teases hatred and ties to Muzan. We also see Akaza in the Infinity Castle, and then the opening theme hits and the episode ends. While still solid, this was probably the worst finale they had. It had the annoying wailing of Tengen's wives, spent half an episode humanizing two villains who were guaranteed to die, and basically bait and switched us twice with the poison threat. Not only that, the epic action from the penultimate episode raised the bar so high that this all felt lame in comparison. But in the Swordsmith Village, they learned their lesson. Yes, I understand this is following the material in the manga, but animes have a lot of leeway in the way episodes are structured and or expanded on. The first two finales lacked action, so what happens here? The first quarter of the extended episode is all action, and it's awesome. The next 7 minutes are essentially one long moral dilemma for Tanjiro, having to choose between the villagers and Nezuko. This being dragged out really builds up the tension, which is the complete opposite of the poison from the last finale. We get the demon's backstory again, but instead of that being 50% of the episode, it's 2 minutes and doesn't humanize him at all. We get a beautifully touching reunion with Tanjiro and Nezuko, which makes us wonder what she is and what she's capable of. We get to see Kid Muzan, where we see his ruthlessness again, the best part of the first finale, and then get his backstory and his goals for the future, which all ties back to Nezuko's recovery. That entire sequence still only takes 5 minutes, and is not only super important to the plot in the moment, but a huge tease for what's to come. Then we get more wholesome reunion moments, we see Tamayo, the village gets cleaned up, and we have our happy send-off to the opening theme as the episode ends. I'm simplifying a lot of this down, but think of how the Swordsmith finale takes all the best elements from the first two, like Muzan's rage and expanding on the action, and either drops or corrects the weaknesses from them, like the backstories and tension. This all comes to a head in the most recent finale, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest anime episodes of all time. Right away, we again capitalize on the Muzan hype by creating a suspenseful opening with his arrival. We finally get to see him and Kaguya meet, and we get a lot of information about Kaguya's character, motivation, and goals. All of this feels tense because we know his end is coming, but it's dragged out and we don't know how it will happen. We also have the Hashira rushing in to try and save him. We get the massive explosion, which we first attribute to Muzan, only for that to be a misdirection and all part of Kaguya's plan. We see more steps of that plan laid out, bringing in Tamayo and Gyome. We learn that Muzan only has one weakness, the sun, which adds even more value to the scene from the last finale. Gyome gets a Tengen-esque visual spectacle action sequence, and all of the Hashira arrive on the scene, setting you up for what looks to be an absolutely incredible fight. The hype is insane. In fact, you can pretty much sum the entire episode up by saying tension, followed by misdirection, followed by hype, which they've clearly learned how to pace out after some initial struggles. The Hashira jump into action, only to all get sent into the Infinity Castle along with every other Demon Slayer, and we realize Muzan had an even better plan than Kaguya. The opening theme hits and the episode ends, teasing us with the movies coming out. Going through these, it was interesting to learn some episodes all hit the same beats. They all end with the opening theme. They all tease a future demon threat, first Enmu, then Doma, then Akaza, and finally Muzan. Every finale includes a scene in the Infinity Castle. We see Muzan in 3 of the 4 finales, in 3 different forms, mind you, and the only time we don't, we see Ubuyashiki excited, which is a cool detail. Lastly, they all tease what's coming next. With that, I'm out.